Hello and welcome to the MAC weather page for this Wednesday, November 11th, and we got quite a bit going on in the weather department here over the next week or so. First of all, we got a pretty significant wind event coming up beginning late tonight, lasting into Friday. I think we could see about 40 hours worth of winds that could gust over to 40 miles per hour. And across southern lower Michigan, don't be surprised to see many gusts over 50 miles per hour. Thus, I expect we're going to see at least scattered power outages here, especially as we get later in the day on Thursday. And the headlines, again, 2 Wednesdays this week. And we have gale and storm force warnings across Lake Michigan right now. So the Great Lakes are going to be very rough out there, as is often the case when we get those gales in November. And you can see as far as the weather map across the area right now, temperatures mainly in the 30s. Again, colder in Newaygo. We got a couple of systems with some transmitter issues, and we'll try to work on those here in the coming days. And you can see on the satellite, we got our storm churning out across Colorado, getting ready to move into Kansas, and it'll begin to track northeast towards Green Bay and the Straits and deepen as it does. And you can see at the 7 a.m. forecast map that storm coming into western Kansas, and it'll be tracking to the northeast, pulling moisture from that southern jet. And we can also look at the forecast map now for Thursday morning. You can see it's down to 988 millibars, 986 millibars as it comes into Iowa. And then if we look at the GFS forecast for Thursday morning at 7 a.m., that storm is near Green Bay with a central pressure of 982, or about 28.95 to 29.05 inches of mercury. So very powerful storm as it tracks off to the northeast. You can see the tightly packed isobars off to the south, and that's where the strongest winds are going to be, as that lifts to the northeast. That'll come into at least the southern part of the state, where I think we could see many wind gusts of 50 miles per hour or greater over about an 18 to 24 hour period. And if we look at the GFS's wind forecast map here, this would be for tomorrow morning. You can see even some yellow, which would be 50 to 55 knot winds over Lake Michigan, and that would be about 60 plus mile per hour winds, so very, very windy again here over the next couple of days. As far as precipitation forecast from the WPC, the heaviest rains across northwest lower Michigan, back into the UP, Wisconsin, and down into Iowa. You can see where some dry sliding cuts in on that moisture. Again, our biggest story is going to be the winds. If we look at the forecast from the GFS for precipitation over the next 72 hours, again, it's in pretty good agreement with the WPC with those heaviest rains off to our northwest. But again, all areas should pick up around 1/4 of an inch or more, maybe a little bit less in southeast lower Michigan. But we've got a lot of rain coming up, and we got a wet system potentially for next week, and we're going to have to really watch that close. This is a Canadian model over the next 10 days, and this would be 2 to 4 inches of rain across parts of the northwest MAC areas, and well over an inch even across southeast lower Michigan. The European is very similar, but with more heavy precipitation, even spots of 5 inches occurring back just off to our west, with much of the area in that 1 to 3 inches of rain. And finally, if we look at the GFS model, this is the Freddy Krueger forecast. This would be 5 to 8 inches across much of the northern parts of the MAC area, including Breckenridge and Middleton, down towards St. John's, Orden, Newaygo, and even some areas off here to the northwest. This would be over 10 inches of rain. So this is a very interesting system coming up, and let's hope that this forecast is not right. But if it is, you're going to want to get out and get as much of your grain harvested this week as possible, and through the weekend into early next week. This storm looks like it would hit around that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday time period, so we'll keep an eye on that. And as far as the next 6 to 10 days, you can see the heart of the warmth right across the Great Lakes and above normal precipitation. Kind of like a broken record, we go to the 8 to 14 day. Again, more of the same, warm and wet as our very wet fall continues. And if you want some snow, definitely building up some snowpack across the northern portions of the Great Lakes north of there, up towards Hudson Bay, and very significant snow piling up across the areas from western Canada into the Rockies. And look at this even ridiculous amount of forecasted snow across Oklahoma. This would be anywhere from 12 to 20 inches of snow. Now, I trust this about as much as I trust kissing a cannibal, but hey, certainly we got the idea of very cold temperatures and snow out west and warm and wet across the east. Thanks for stopping by, and have a great day, and 73s to all.